Welcome to the Strategy of the Week presentation for July 26, 2013. My name is Todd Shaffer. I'm the Manager of Research for VectorVest, and I'll be providing your strategy presentation this evening. One of the features of VectorVest that I love to brag about is the fact that we maintain a historical record of everything we've done since 1995. It's usually in the context of a boast, comparing our service to our competitors, who hope you can't remember what they said yesterday, let alone 2007 or the bottom of the market in 2009. But the real benefit to us as subscribers is that market conditions tend to repeat themselves, and this historical record contains a wealth of information if we're willing to do a little research. As evidence, I submit to you that we look way back to June 28th, 2013, 4 weeks ago. Dr. DiLiddo wrote an essay titled When to Buy Gold Stocks. Tonight, we'll demonstrate the techniques that he outlined in this essay because this week we did get that signal. But, okay, that's not that long ago. But would you be interested to know that it echoed a technique that he had described in an earlier essay from September 13th, 2002? Is that more like it? Well, let's take a look. From the home page of the program, we'll go up and click on the Views tab, and I'll open the Views Manager. If I click on Essay Viewer, this lists chronologically all the essays that Dr. DiLiddo has written all the way back to 1995. And so if we scroll back to 2002, we'll look for the essay from September 13th. If I double click it, we'll bring up the essay. The title of the essay, The Early Move. And let's read the highlights. On July 26, 2002, the Mining Gold Silver Industry Group was ranked 199th out of 202 by relative timing. Yesterday, it was ranked number 1. How could we have caught this explosive move? Simply by using Delta Viewer. This tool is absolutely perfect for keeping track of industry group rotation and spotting big moves in industry groups. Here he was using Delta Viewer, which has now been incorporated into the Unisearch tool. He's looking for the delta change of RT. Currently, Dr. DiLiddo wrote about using price instead of RT. He continues at the end of the essay. A graph of this industry group in the daily mode shows that price was exploding and the RT rank rose from 199th on July 26th, 02 to 86th on August 9th, 02. Price crossed above its 50-day moving average on August 27th, and the move was confirmed by RT going above 1 on 8/29/02. As of yesterday, the price of this industry group was still rising. Nobody knows how high it will go, but Delta Viewer sure caught the early move. And now if we bring this current, Dr. DiLiddo was writing about catching gold early in his essay from the 28th of June, When to Buy Gold Stocks. And he'll join his essay here on the third paragraph. I've been watching the performance of the Mining Gold Silver Industry Group lately, and it's been among the lowest ranked industry groups by RT descending for a long time. If you look at a one-year graph of this industry group and add RT ranking to it, you'll see that it's been a bottom dweller since last November. Well, let's do that. We're going to open up a graph, so I'll go to the Graphs tab. We're going to open an industry graph, and then for the industry we'll choose Mining Gold Silver. This is the default industry graph for the mining gold silver industry with the price, a 40-day moving average, and RT of the industry. Let's first change our date back to the time Dr. DiLiddo was writing the essay back on the 28th of June. So we'll set up our end date to be on that day. And he suggests that we need to look at, instead of RT, we want to look at our RT industry rank. So because we sort industries by RT, the industry with the highest RT value would be number 1, the lowest number, and the industry with the worst RT ranking would be 220th, since there are 220 industries in the database. And we see on the 28th, at the time Dr. DiLiddo wrote the essay, the mining gold silver industry was ranked at 219th. And here, remember, he wrote, if you look at a one-year graph of this industry group and add RT ranking to it, you'll see it's been a bottom dweller since last November. And so it's been steadily at the bottom of this list since November. He goes on to say a long-term graph shows that the price closed at an all-time low on Wednesday, June 26th of 2013. So I'll quick jump here to a 10-year graph. We'll stretch it all the way out. And I'll put on the high-low markers, and let's take off the RT ranking. But since it's been in the database now, we reached an all-time low back here in June on the 26th. And he writes, so I don't think it's going to go much lower. However, I'm not going to buy gold stocks just yet. I don't believe in buying anything while it's going down in price, and 2 up days don't make an uptrend. So how am I going to know when a bona fide uptrend occurs? I could use the Midas touch, a method that was introduced on December 31st, 2009, or I could use a technique I developed some 20 years ago. I mentioned it briefly in my wonderful book, Stock Strategies and Common Sense, but for some reason didn't describe how it worked. Here's how it works. Every Friday, I would run a 1-week price delta on the bottom 10 industry groups ranked by RT descending. I would then check to see which industry group or groups had jumped out of the bottom 10 ranked by RT descending. I would then buy a couple stocks from the industry groups that were no longer in the bottom 10 and had the highest RT. So step 1 was to run a 1-week price delta on the bottom 10 industry groups ranked by RT descending. In the VectorVest tool, there are a couple ways to do this. Let's start with a manual process. So we're going to go to the Viewers tab, and we're going to go to the Industry Viewer, which lists all the industries within the VectorVest system, all 220 of them, and we're currently displaying all. They're sorted by default by RT descending. So we have at the top of the list the highest RT values, the industries that are in the strongest uptrends. We have at the bottom of the list the industries that are in the strongest downtrends with RTs below 1. Let's move our date back to June 28th at the time of our essay. Here are the bottom 10 industries, and we can see that mining, gold, silver was next to last. And if we scroll all the way to the right, we'll find that it was ranked 219th out of 220. And so on the 28th of June, I'm interested in finding the industries that have had the biggest price delta movement, which delta is simply the magnitude of change expressed as a percentage. So the biggest percentage price move over the past week who have moved up out of the bottom 10. So if I'm looking at the 28th, I see the current bottom 10. I'm interested in knowing who has moved out this week. So we're going to back up our date 1 week to the 21st. And to find the price movement, I simply need to run a quick test. So we'll scroll back to the bottom again. Let's highlight the bottom 10 industries. I hold my shift key to highlight the range, and we'll quick test the selected. And here we see at the top of our list, the mining, gold, silver industry actually fell over 2%. And if I wanted to, I could right click on that industry and view its industry graph and put on its RT ranking and see, back on June 28th, that it was still ranked 219th. And Dr. DiLiddo writes, so I'll wait until next week before I buy any gold stocks. And we'll just repeat the process. And we see by looking forward here a little on a graph, we did get that pop just this past week. But before we move there, let me close the graph. While we're focusing on gold and silver miners, this obviously has implications for other industries that are coming up off of their bottoms. And so through the magic of hindsight, we know that we did get our signal this week. Let's take a look at how that looked. We'll move our date up to last Friday, the 19th. We'll scroll to the bottom and look at our bottom 10 industries. Here's mining, gold, silver is third from last. We'll highlight those bottom 10 and we'll quick test them. Through last night, we see that the mining, gold, silver industry is up 5.49%, the fastest moving of the whole group. If I right click on it and look at its industry graph, crossed out of the bottom 10 here on the 23rd of July. And here we see on the price graph, the price has entered into a nice little uptrend. It's crossed the 40-day moving average. All in all, a nice early entry into the gold industry. Of course, the next step was to find stocks within the industry to trade. I can right click on the industry in the quick test or in the industry viewer and view stocks in the industry group. From here, you can cherry pick your candidates. Some popular sorts for this industry are RT descending. and RT times CI. Of course, mining stocks are notorious for being speculative, so you might prefer stocks that are on a major exchange and have positive earnings, so they actually know how to make money. So B2 Gold, First Majestic, Fortuna Silver Mines. Let's take a look at those guys. All three up an average of almost 8% in just a week, annualized at 416. And so some very encouraging results identifying these industries that are coming up off of the bottoms early on. So that's the concept. Let me take a minute to show you how you can use some of the tools in the VectorVest system to automate part or all of this process. Because VectorVest is all about using the tools that get you to the stocks that you want to trade quickly and easily. So let's close our test, and we'll close our viewer window altogether, and let's go to the Unisearch tool. Whenever I'm teaching someone how to build a search, I always say let's start the easy way and just build on something that VectorVest has already started. And so in this case, we're looking for a price delta on industries. Let's look in the Delta Searches Industries group. And lo and behold, we have RT deltas and price deltas. Here's a one-day price delta. Let's just choose it. So let's take a look at our search. First of all, on the top toolbar, we're looking for industries. So this list is going to return industries, not individual stocks. To look at individual stocks, I would make that selection here on the drop-down list. In the parameters list, at the time of search, we're going to look for an industry whose split-adjusted price has a delta, and this time we're going to change the value. Instead of just finding out what that one-day value is, Dr. DiLiddo was looking for the 5-day delta, or the 1-week delta, to be greater than 0. We're looking for it to be going up. And let's sort those by RT descending. And if I run that search on last night's close, we see all of the industries here have had a positive price movement over the past week, and we're sorted RT descending. But notice here we're looking at industries, not stocks. Dr. DiLiddo's other requirement was that the industry rank had moved from the bottom 10 last week up out of the bottom 10 this week. So to build that line, we'll say 1 week ago, the industries capital appreciation RT ranking was greater than or equal to a custom value of 210. Because remember, the higher the number, the lower the rank, and we had 220 industries. This week, at the time of our search, the industries RT ranking should be less than or equal to 210. This way we'll find just the industries that have popped up out of the bottom 10. Let's run our search. Here we can see there were 3 industries that came up out of the top 10: mining, gold, silver, foreign banks, and consumer personal. If we scroll to the right, we'll see that mining, gold, silver was the top RT industry. And so we could stop at this point if you wanted to, and you could just right click on the mining, gold, silver industry and go looking for stocks within the industry. But why not use the power of the Unisearch tool to eliminate those stocks we didn't want to trade? The stocks that weren't on the major exchanges, or didn't have a price above $1, or didn't have enough tradable volume. So I can add some additional criteria. I'm looking for stocks now whose price actual is greater than $1, that the average volume is greater than 100,000 shares. And I'm going to filter the stocks by the major exchanges to make sure I only get stocks that are on the major exchanges. And And finally, remember, I preferred companies that actually make money, so I might say that their earnings per share have to be greater than 0. Now, of course, you can incorporate all of these criteria, some more of your own. This is completely custom and you can do whatever you like. But at this point, I do want to change from industries back to stocks. And now I'll simply run search. Here are our results, and of course, as we scroll over, we've sorted the list now by RT descending. But we scroll all the way to the right. Remember, there are 3 industries represented here. So this list won't necessarily be industry diversified. So I've got mining, gold, silver. We've got bank, foreign, and then more mining, gold, silver, personal consumer products. So you can see the list. But just for grins, how did these guys do over this past week? Let's quick test the top 10. Let's change our date back to a week ago. All top 10 are up over 17%, 892% annualized. And so do you think there's some opportunity there? And of course, we're not suggesting that you go out and fully invest in the gold mining industry. It's just that the top 10 all perform very well. So you can do your own cherry picking methodologies here or try some other sorts and back test and try to automate the process entirely on an industry diversified basis. But to wrap this up, we now have 3 very effective techniques for trading gold. The Midas Touch, which we originally demonstrated on December 31st, 2009. You can go take a look at that Strategy of the Week video. We also did Going for the Gold with the RT Kicker, where we used the RT Kicker timing system on the Huey to time our gold entries. That was on March 15th of this year. And of course, this week's installment, where Dr. DiLiddo says it all in his last paragraph of his essay. To be sure, the Midas Touch methodology is very reliable and has worked very well since it was introduced, but it's not necessarily a bottom fishing strategy. The trade I described above is best suited for aggressive investors who want to enter the trade as soon as it makes sense. In either case, there's more than one way to know when to buy gold stocks. With that, we'll wrap up our strategy presentation for this evening. I appreciate you being with me. Please come back and see us again for the Daily Color Guard Report on Monday. Until then, have a great weekend.